Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Power Lunch. Alongside Kelly Evans, I'm Tyler Matheson. Joining us for the hour is Stifel CEO Ron Kruszewski. Ron, welcome. Well, we came into, Ron, this year with lots of people predicting 6, 7 rate cuts for this year, and what have we had? 2. We may get a third here in next week, but that's a far cry from 6 or 7. Next year, what do you think? Do you think that the pace of rate cutting will slow?
Yeah, well, first of all, at Stifel, we said 2 to 3 the beginning of last year.
Well, you were right there.
And today, the market thinks that we're setting up for significant rate cuts. What do I think? I really think the Fed's going to do 2 more in this environment. I mean, inflation at 3.3%, pretty sticky. You're not going to get much below 4 in the Fed funds rate, in my opinion, unless inflation starts to come down. So watch the data. But this 80% that we're going to have 5 or 6 more cuts, I don't believe.
Ron, a lot of people think we can do the three-peat. 20% plus, third straight year. We did in the 90s. Did end in the dot-com crash.
It did.
But maybe we can do it again without the crash part.
Look, I think if you look at S&P operating earnings, we think about $250. S&P's at 6,000. That's 24 times. And, you know, to now say the market's going to be up another 20%, I mean, sometimes you got to get out your calculator and just look at it. So I'll take the under on 3 years in a row of 20%.
Because in other words, you know whose stock is up 63% this year?
Well, Ron. Thank you very much.
Ron also... Not only have you had a good year, you've had a good tenure at this point. Should I run people through just how well the stock has done since you've been there, since what, 1999? 1997.
Yeah.
And you're up, okay, I have it here.
All right.
The Stifel shares since you showed up in 1997 are up 6,907%. Is that right?
That's correct.
Compare that with Microsoft, Ty, up a mere 4,000%. Morgan Stanley up 816%, to name financial services competitor, and the S&P up 709%. So if you have the Matheson curse...
We can't own individual securities, as most people know, but I have never owned anything that was up 6,000%.
Well, you know what? It's a tribute to the people. You know, we didn't create a chip or an iPhone. We just got a lot of people. We went from 600 people to 10,000 people. And, you know, there's growth stocks and financials, too. We do have an M&A wave coming, and the economy is going to be good. Capital markets are going to be good. I think deregulation is going to help in a lot of ways. But look, you got to be cautious. We're 24 times earnings coming off 2 years in a row, up 20%. We're telling investors, we're not telling you to get out of the market. We're just telling you to understand your risk.
Oh, the financial crisis. You know, we increased capital so that doesn't happen again, and so on and so forth.
And those are valid points, but you have to look at when you do too much regulation, and mostly in capital raising. We can't do IPOs today. It is too expensive. There are too many rules. And for the American economy and investors to be able to thrive, they need to be able to invest in new startup companies.
But, you know, the deficit was $1.8 trillion last year. $900 billion was on interest. I
mean, that's just sort of, to me, that's kind of dead money. I mean, that's money that you can't use for some productive purpose.
It's like running up your credit card. Okay, I mean, with those interest payments, when interest gets to this level, it's more than defense. We're going to have to figure this out. But again, the way is not to cut our way out of it. The way is to allow the entrepreneurial, the capitalistic instincts of America, which are much different than in Europe, to take hold and let some of the spirits go. And that will drive a lot of these efficiencies and allow us to pay some of our bills.
A heightened power demand as AI begins to sop up so much of
sop up. I think the numbers are, it's 4% of the electric grid going to 14, if you want. And then you'll say, well, what does that mean? That means that I'd be long energy-type stocks. Okay? I just would be, because energy is going to be needed. But I will also say this. I do not believe in my lifetime, and I'm going to live a long time, that there'll be another nuclear plant built in the United States.
A new one?
Even a small one?
Not even a... I do not believe that.
You don't think that we're going to bring online any of the smaller nuclear...
Well, no. Will we bring 3 Mile Island back on? Constellation?
No, I mean, the new idea is these smaller... Pippa knows the term. You don't think we're that iteration of nuclear energy?
You're going to put it next to your house? What are you going to say?
There's a lot of space in this country. There's a lot of space.
Well, you got to be near the grid. So it'll be interesting to see. And the nuclear projects that have been brought online have bankrupted the 2 utilities that have tried to do it.
Southern Company?
That's exactly right. So I wonder. However, we need power to power AI. So that's going to be it'll be an interesting couple of years as it relates to power and AI.
Interesting.
Premier, it seems that, you know, again, everyone says, you know, tariffs are a negotiating point. You know, how would you react? The border seems like fixing the border should be relatively easy. You know, Canada probably needs to pay more to the defense, and that's certainly a negotiating point. And then I hear things. I ask friends, and they say you're very far north. The seas, you have to secure those. And do you think you're willing to do that in a trade-off for not having tariffs?
Well, I've called for a meeting with the Prime Minister and all the premiers, and we're going to hold his feet to the fire.
We need your oil and gas, okay? So get the NATO thing fixed, get the border thing fixed, and make a deal.
Well, Ron, I agree with you. Maybe I should have you sitting at the table with me, because the critical minerals to build your military, we have the largest mining sector in the entire world.
Time now for 3 Stock Lunch, and we're trading some key names making headlines today.
What Broadcom's going to make specialized chips, and that's what we're going to use as a business. We're going to want specialized large language models, and Broadcom also connects all these things together. So when you're looking for the next trillion-dollar company, this company is
a better investment for you. It's a better, that kind of chip that does a specific function as opposed to one that does all functions.
We don't need to search the internet for everything. We need to take our data and be specific to it, and that's what they're doing, and that's what I think they're trying to build with Apple. So this is a good play.
Let's get some final thoughts from our guest host today, Stifel Chairman and CEO Ron Kruszewski. Ron, let's go back to the terrible shooting last week on a street in Midtown. You were in that hotel that very morning. My question is, as a CEO, have you changed in any way your security protocols?
My board is talking about it. You know, you can't live behind bulletproof glass. That's how I feel. You got to conduct yourself appropriately. This was a random event, but it is very concerning. And what I think all business leaders have to be aware of is that besides the senseless shooting, which was senseless, there is a level of anger in the populace.
There is.
It was Occupy Wall Street in the financial crisis, and now it's healthcare. So I just think we need to be aware.
Ron, great to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Have a great
really
holiday.
Enjoyed this.
Yeah, we really enjoy having you here.
Come back
Thank you very
soon.
much.
Thank you.
Ron
Very
Kruszewski, thanks for a great hour.